So, hi Tamás.
Hi Daniel.
So, coming back to the topics of IoT and PKI. So, PKI has been around for decades now, and a lot of alternative techniques and methods has actually come. It could be like, if I think about the real world, OTP, Federation, SAML, OpenID Connect, for example, but my feeling is really that PKI has got a revival the last year or so, and my personal view that it could actually have something to do with IoT as well.
Yeah, I think so too. All these techniques that you just mentioned, different kind of federation and authorization schemes that appeared on the market are best applicable to a closed IT environment or a well-defined connectivity patterns in the internet of users and services. But once you come to an IoT scenario where you have millions of participants, if it's a complex ecosystem with different service providers communicating with different devices, and also devices connecting to any other devices, the connectivity pattern can become unpredictable and also very complex. And this is where PKI is definitely overcomes all the other technologies.
So if we should deep dive a little bit in PKI today and how it suits different industries and scenarios, I was thinking, and I was actually myself thinking a little bit about the automotive industry and the challenges between vehicles to vehicle and vehicle to anything, more or less, and the fact that there's a lot of safety and security involved, but also the fact that you should not be able to be tracked as a car and as an individual driving around and so on. So, and I guess that PKI has a lot of specific functions and suits this challenge quite well.
Yeah, that's true. PKI provides the classical security functions. On one hand, it's authentication, which is the basis for access control, encryption, also message authentication, but it has also very interesting features, like it can support anonymity of the messaging, and I would also mention that lifecycle support is built into standard PKI. Lifecycle, I mean revocation service. There's a built-in revocation service. So if a car gets stolen or must be removed from the traffic, you have means in the standard PKI to revoke the certificate, so it's no longer able to communicate with other parties. It's also built-in functionality to renew the certificates, which is extremely important if you think in supply chains, like an embedded unit is produced in one factory, then it's built into a car, and the car is sent to a sales office, and then it is handed over to the owner. So it's a long chain, and then the car may need different identities, and based on this chain of certificates, you can renew the certificates and supply new certificates to the car. It's standard, the techniques.
Yeah.
Also, if you think in a larger ecosystem like a smart city, there are different service provider, parking lots, charging stations, traffic lights, guidance systems to find your parking lot. So there are many different service parties who want to trust each other's identity, and this is also with PKI. It's very easy to do with standard PKI.
Exactly, but really the good thing, as we started, it's standardized, it's stable, it's there, it's scalable, and so on. But so it's basically so that you can go out and take any PKI and do anything, or is there any specific functions needed?
Yes, on one hand, this is an advantage. PKI is very well standardized. So if you, as a service provider or as any other customer, you are not locked into one specific technology. It's the usage of certificates is interoperable. You can take a certificate from this service provider or from that product vendor. It will work. What makes the difference is how you can integrate your system into your business processes. So it's about APIs, it's about automated issuing of certificates, it's about lifecycle support in the proper way. It's also, in some applications, you have very small devices with a limited computing power. It's called constrained devices. The classical cryptographical methods with RSA keys possibly will not work because it takes too long to do a computation of a signature. In that case, you need other cryptography. You may also need other certificate formats which better suit the application. So the flexibility of the solution is also can be very important in specific applications. And finally, it's also sometimes up to performance. If I can mention the car-to-car communication scenario. For anonymity reasons, the cars have to replace their certificates that they use for communication very frequently. They have 60 certificates a week, and then they drop, and then a set of 60 certificates for the next week. If you count with 100 millions of cars times these 60 certificates, you come to many, many billions of certificates in a year. So the system has to be accordingly very, very performant.
And you are actually involved in real projects, real implementations and setups, of course, in different industries and so on, but based on our technology. So how would you say that our technology differ and where we are really unique and maybe even outperform other suppliers?
Yes, it's just exactly these factors that I mentioned. It's about performance very often. It's also about the flexibility, lifecycle support, so that you can integrate it into business processes, production and supply chain processes. This is what counts.
Interesting. So we've had a few talks now, and I'm looking forward as well to doing the talk where we will actually specifically go into looking at a customer case that had specific requirements and talk a little bit about that, the challenges and the solution for that.
Yeah, it will be fun.
Thanks for today.
Thanks.